everybody. So I have been terrible lately and I haven't done a What's for Dinner Wednesday in a while. So I'm making quite a large batch, but I'm making a batch of salsa for my sister's baby shower tomorrow. And so I thought I'd share with you guys my fresh salsa recipe because it is my favorite. Now, salsa is very simple. And there's a million different recipes that you can do, and mine is not an exact science. But I thought I'd share with you because I do have one very secret ingredient that makes mine amazing. And that is, which I already have it in the cup, that is the fire roasted salsa style tomatoes. I use this as the base for all of my salsas because I find that just fresh tomatoes makes it kind of watery, and you don't get enough of that tomato flavor with it. If you have time and you're not on a time crunch like me, because I forgot that I had to make a large batch of salsa for the shower tomorrow until like an hour ago. So if you have the time, you can always get a bunch of tomatoes and roast them over a fire or your grill yourself, and that goes a long way. I've done that before once. It's just a long process, and I usually wait way too long to remember to do it. So that is the first thing that I always add to mine. Now, like I said, I'm making a very large batch. We're having, I think it's like 60, I think it's around 60 people tomorrow. So I'm making like a triple batch today. But normally I don't buy the big bell peppers. I buy usually like the bag of small, let me turn my notifications off. There we go. I usually buy the small bag of sweet peppers. So when I make a regular batch, I'll usually add 2 or 3 of those in to it. And again, if you are roasting your own tomatoes, roast the peppers too. All the peppers, roast the peppers, the onions, the tomatoes, the garlic, all goes a really long way. So, but I am doing, oh, I got a cut in my finger earlier, so it's a little tender. But I am doing a large batch, so I'm going to use just a whole big bell pepper. Also, serrano peppers. I prefer serrano peppers over jalapenos. I just don't like the flavor of jalapenos. They're okay, but I prefer the serrano peppers. So if you're not familiar with peppers, serranos are just a small spicy pepper. They are usually a little bit spicier. So depending on how much salsa you're making and also how spicy you want the salsa to be is the key on how much peppers to use. I usually cut a little bit off and smell it. You can smell it. When it's a spicy pepper, you can smell it. Like, it can be so strong. The spicier you want it, the more seeds you put in it. So I'm going to do like half of it with seeds. And this one doesn't seem to be too spicy. Also, if you get a real spicy one or you're real sensitive to spices, use gloves. Just any sort of like latex or nurdle gloves will go a long way to keeping your little fingers happy. So I'm going to use a whole pepper, but I'm only going to use maybe about half the amount of seeds, maybe probably a third. Since I'm making it for like a large group of people, I don't want this to be too spicy. Also, know that your spiciness will change as it sits. If I can, I try to make the salsa at least a couple hours ahead of time. And the spiciness will amplify overnight. Sometimes it gets to be a little much. So I like to throw caution to the wind and make it a little less spicy. You can always add more spice tomorrow. You can add hot sauce to it. You can add dried cayenne pepper, or if you have time, you can always add another serrano to it. Oh, yes. Hi, Anissa. Hi, Shasheen. I am so picky about my salsa. So I literally make like a batch of salsa a week, because we go through a batch of salsa a week usually. I didn't get a trash bowl. Sorry. Grab a trash bowl so I don't have to keep running to the trash can. But that sounds good with pork chops. I haven't tried that yet. So I forgot my lid over here. I forgot all kinds of stuff. Let me grab the rest of my stuff. And one of my secret weapons is a immersion blender. And last time I bought one, I bought the one with the food chopper underneath. You guys, this is such a lifesaver. Because I don't like, so especially in my salsa, I don't like big chunks of onion and peppers and stuff like that. So I like to use this to make it pretty fine. I just don't like that crunch. If you are roasting your stuff beforehand, you won't have that crunch. But since I'm making it all fresh, give me that a second. And I love because you can control how much or how big or small you want your pieces to be. So I literally put all of my ingredients in here. If I'm making a single batch, I usually use like half an onion and like 2 or 3 of those little peppers I was talking about and the serrano. And I will throw all of that in here together in one batch. And that's all. Now there's a couple pieces of this serrano that are still pretty big. So I'm going to steal those out and I'll throw them back in with the onion in a second so that they're not too big. That's the only thing for sure. You don't want to have super big chunks, especially if you have a really spicy pepper. I remember when Grant was little, he was probably around 1, and he loved salsa. So we'd go to a Mexican food restaurant and he wouldn't eat anything but salsa. Yes, totally a lifesaver. If you guys want, I can give you the Amazon link to this one because I actually really, really love this one. It came with this, so it's got the blade, and then the bin has measurements on it. And then it also came with a large cup that also has measurements. I make my pancake mix in this with the immersion blender, and it fits perfectly in there. But I make my pancake mix in this and with this because I usually add like fruit and stuff to mine, and it just makes it so much easier to do. So that's my tip for the day. So I will share that when we're done. Grant. So he would only eat salsa. So we went to this Mexican food restaurant for dinner, and literally this kid eats a whole bowl of salsa by himself. The server was really impressed with him, but I remember one bite that he got must have had like a really big piece of pepper, and his face, like his eyeballs were so big, and he didn't know what to do because when I make it, I make sure that there's no large chunks. So that was hilarious, and I'm pretty sure he drank like the whole cup of water that he had. It was pretty dang spicy. But he just kept going to eating after that. It didn't like phase him. Just for that moment, it phased him, but it didn't deter him from eating more. It was so funny. So, all right. So I'm doing my onion in here. This blender really makes salsa, well, any sort of chopping easier. I put everything in it. This thing is always dirty. Oops. Puppy's gonna get a little bit of onion. Another funny story. I was cutting up onion last night. What did we have last night? Oh, we had chili last night. So I was cutting up onion last night, and Lyndon he always, I'm surprised he's not in here now. He always wants whatever I'm cutting up. So like when I cut up the peppers, I usually give him a little piece. Normally he doesn't want the onion though. For some reason yesterday he wanted the onion, so I gave him a piece and he's all Mama yuck. Mama yuck. Ran looking for his water. But he is so curious. None of my other kids, they usually want, you know, if I'm in the kitchen, they're usually in here trying to steal stuff from me. But never the onion. They can smell it as soon as I cut it. And for some reason yesterday, he just wanted it. So, all right. So this onion is already starting to kill me. You guys are gonna have to bear with me a moment because this onion is strong. So I am gonna scrape all that in there, and then one thing I do, normally I just put everything in there and I'll just stir it later. But the onion I have to stir in as soon as I put it in there because it starts to kill me. So I will be right back. I'm gonna go rinse this stuff off and wipe my eyes because I can't even open them right now. I'll be right back. Tell me your favorite kind of Mexican food while I'm doing this. Oh, almost done. You can go say hi, Reagan. Oh.
Hi.
I'm showing them how to make salsa. Oh. Do you like Mommy's salsa?
Yeah. I love it.
Oh my gosh, my eyeballs. I'm gonna rinse this off too. Oh, that was a strong one. All right. Excuse me, sissy. All right. So, are you gonna go back and see? All right. So I've got onion in here. I've got pepper. I probably need to, she's gonna run away because the onion's killing her now. I'll probably end up putting another half an onion, but that one was really strong. So I'm just gonna leave the one for now and I'll taste it at the end and see what it tastes like. So next is tomatoes. Now, normally when I'm not making such a giant batch, I'll get a little container of the cherry tomatoes and I'll put those in there. But when I went to the store earlier, they actually had the tomatoes on the vine on sale, and so I grabbed some of those today. Street tacos are amazing, so good. And I'm gonna use a tomato knife. And now, years ago when I first started cooking, I had no idea that there was a special knife for tomatoes. And there are right-handed and left-handed knives for tomatoes. So this is mine. I've got another one. I've got two. They are both right-handed. And the way, oops, I'm getting a call. The way that I know that it is a right-handed or left-handed tomato is while you're holding it, whatever side has the angle on the serration, let's see if I can get it to focus enough. See the angle right there? That means it's right-handed. If it was on the left side of the knife, you can see this side, well maybe, see if it'll focus. This side is completely flat on the serration, whereas this side's got the little edge. So, oh, this one you might be able to see it better because it's a different color. So, so this is a right-handed one because it's on the right side. And, so yeah, little fact about tomato knives. They really do make it easier to cut tomatoes. I didn't believe that until somebody bought me one. What's wrong? Oh, you scratched yourself. How'd you do that?
Hi, Aunt Heather. I just forget.
Who else? Leanne and Judy and Wendy. Hey guys! So I am sharing my salsa recipe. It's not really honestly much of a recipe because I just kind of throw a bunch of stuff together. But I do have specific ingredients that always go in it, and a certain, I usually do it by looks and taste, and obviously because some things taste differently than others. So my number one key, hey, I'm glad I taught you something. I taught someone something today. My number one key to making a really good salsa is to have a good base. So if you don't have time to fire roast your ingredients, your onions, peppers, and tomatoes and garlic, then I use this as my base. So thank you. I'm so glad, Shasheen. I love to cook. And I don't have the patience to be a chef, and I can't work those kind of hours. No way. So I figured I was trying to figure out, actually Alicia helped me. I was trying to figure out just how I could share that and figure out, things that I'm good at that I can share and bring value to friends and family and stuff. And she told me I should do this. So that's what I've been doing. So thank you, Alicia.
It's amazing.
And something, I don't remember where I learned it. Something I learned a couple years ago was to always have a trash bowl. So instead of having to have trash taking up space on your cutting board, or having to run to the trash can every few minutes because you've got a piece of something that's trash, is to have a trash bowl nearby. And depending on the type of sink that you have, I used to keep it at my other house. I used to keep it in my sink. Reagan, go tell Daddy to call Grandpa, okay? Because he's called me 3 times. Just see what he needs or if everything's okay. My dad. Sorry. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, so at my other house, I had a 0-edge sink. So I would keep the trash bin in the sink and I'd just push everything off the edge. But here I don't have that. So I just have the bowl next to me and I can scrape stuff off, whatever I don't need, throw it in there. And, just makes for a cleaner area. And that way, if you're honestly, if you're running to the trash can every few minutes to throw stuff away, that means you have to wash your hands every time you're done touching the trash. And that's gross if you're not. So please wash your hands if you're running to the trash, or start using a trash bowl. See, your sister knows what's up. I never thought about it until somebody shared that with me a few years ago. So, thought that would be a good tip to share with y'all. Oops. Got a little bit more tomatoes here. So other ingredients that I've put in mine is green onions. I know not a lot of people put green onions in their salsa, but I usually put a little less regular onion than most people and then add the green onions because I love green onions. I love the flavor. I never used to like onions, so I used to actually never put even regular onions in my salsa. He's dying?
He's dying.
Is he okay?
Nope, never gonna be alright.
Okay. So.
Here's your picture in your car.
Oh, I called him?
I guess.
Oh.
Somebody's got a hell of a system.
I didn't realize I called my dad, but apparently I did. I just bring the trash can to the middle of the kitchen. Yes, and I've done that before too. It just depends, like if you have to touch the trash can, gross. So, this makes it a little easier. It's all in one place. And
Look up.
then you can just throw it all away when you're done. Oops. I dropped a tomato, Bella. My dogs are my vacuum. So who uses their dogs? If you have dogs, raise your hand. And then if you have dogs
I don't know.
that you let eat stuff off the floor when you drop it, throw me a heart. Because that's what I do. Honestly, it's usually because my dogs get to it. If I told them to stop, they wouldn't. But usually the dogs get to it before I do. And as long as it's not anything that'll hurt them, I let them. So that was like a little tiny piece of tomato.
They like their veggies.
And they like their veggies. My dog actually eats lettuce and spinach. She's a weirdo. And celery. She loves celery.
She likes crunchy.
Yes, she does. All right, so I'm gonna mix this up a little bit and kind of see. I look for the ratio of the fresh tomatoes to the tomatoes that I had in the can. And so let me show you guys. Hopefully I can get that sat back up. So this is still, whoa, crazy. This is still a little bit too much can versus fresh. So I'm gonna cut up a couple more of those. Oh, I was talking about ingredients before I dropped some tomato. So green onions. I love green onions. So in a regular batch, which is just 1 can of the salsa style fry roasted tomatoes, I usually put probably, let's see, how much comes in a bunch? 2. So I usually put 3 or 4 green onions in a regular batch. And I do the dark green all the way down to the white. But today, since I'm doing such a large batch, I have some in the fridge too. I'll probably have James grab that out. And I'll probably put almost 2 batches or 2 bunches of tomatoes. Hi, Allison, Danielle, and Rose. I am just sharing my personal salsa recipe and just chit-chatting with you guys. It's Friday night. I have kids, so I don't do things. So if you're on here, you're either getting ready to go do things or you have kids and you don't do things on Friday nights either. No, the green onions are in here. I just said they're in the fridge. Okay, Wendy. So I will be here. I also, when I'm done with this, not only do I... Oh! Thank you, Lyndon. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to say hi? Ready?
Hi.
Hi. Say hi, everybody. Oh, no, no. Oh, he says bye now. No, they can't come. They're talking to me. Miss you too, Rose. What are you up to? It's been like way too long. I'll have to PM you after this. Well, even if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't be able to go out tonight because I am preparing for my baby sister, her baby shower. Little Jean, for those of you that knew her like that, is having a baby in the beginning of December. And her shower is tomorrow, and she requested that I make salsa, which is what I'm doing now. And she also requested that I make my favorite cookies. So I'll also be making cookies. And just depending, it's an awesome recipe, you guys. So my biggest pet peeve with cookies is that you usually have to put your dough in the fridge to let it sit to make the dough a certain consistency. And when I make cookies, most of the time when I make chocolate chip cookies and stuff for us, I say, hey, I think I'm gonna make cookies right now because I want cookies right now, not because I want cookies in 6 hours. So I have a recipe that I found, and I've kind of adjusted it over the years, that does not require you to let your dough sit in the fridge forever. So I'll be making those later. So if you guys want me, I can go live later and I can do cookies too. But I'm going to have to eat in between salsa and cookies. So if you want me to go live and do the cookie recipe, let me know. And I am more than happy to do so. Where are my scissors? So just let me know down below if that's what you want. I'm more than happy to do that because I have nothing better to do because I have a ton of cookies to make. Another ingredient in salsa. Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. I just don't have time. I don't want to wait. I don't want to make cookie dough in the morning to make it for the night. I decided like 7 o'clock at night that I want cookies for dessert and I have to make them right now. Hi, Lisa. So I'll be doing that. Let me know if you guys want me to go live and share that recipe too. But we are making salsa if you're just joining us, Lisa. And next ingredient is lime. I like to find the limes, at least here in Arizona, it seems like the limes that have a less bumpy skin are better. They have more juice. They have better flavor juice. And they're easier to put in my juice press. So my tip for limes is to kind of roll it on the counter. Kind of squish it. It helps you get a little bit more juice out of it. So just a little bit of pressure and roll it kind of like you would if you're rolling out like pie crust with a roller. Just use your hand on it. And then cut the lime in half. You should always cut, if you are cutting limes to throw in a juice press, then, hi Tiffany, you want to make sure you're cutting it so you cut it this way, between the two ends, not through the ends. So when it opens up, you should see the star. And then something, if you have a press like this, if you're juicing lime, lemon, orange, whatever, most oranges don't fit unless you're doing the little cuties in here. Ooh, I don't know why it's all focusy. There we go. You want to put your lime face down, so flat, in the juicer. Unless it's a key lime. If it's a key lime, then you put it the same direction. So, but, ooh, I have that cut. That hurt. Sorry, guys. Oh my God. I got a paper cut. It's the tiniest little thing. Put lime juice in a fresh paper cut. It's no bueno. So, flat. I'll bring it over here so you guys can see. And then you just press. Oh, if you use fresh limes or lemons, I highly suggest one of these. You just throw it like that. Again, flat down. Now again, depending on your tastes, I like lots of lime. For me personally, I would probably throw 2 limes in this big of a batch. When I make a single batch, I usually throw 1 whole one if it's for me personally. My dad does not like lime, so if he's gonna eat it, I do half a one. But you can't have salsa without lime. And I know a lot of recipes call for lemon. Lime is way better. So if you've been making it with lemon, try a lime next time. All right, so that looks good. Now, oh, we need to add some garlic. Another of my favorite ingredients that a lot of people don't put in. Now, I don't know if you saw my post a couple weeks ago, or maybe I only did it in my group, but I love garlic. So if a recipe calls for like 1 garlic, I do like 5. Again, it just depends on the batch of garlic. So I'm just gonna kind of throw a couple in here, and then of course you have to taste test. And oh man, that lime's kicking my butt. Taste test, and then add more. But always do a little less so you can add more because you can't take it away. Also, if you love garlic and you don't have a garlic press, you need one. It is a lifesaver, and fresh garlic is much better for you. I know a lot of people buy the pre-minced garlic in the jar, but that's not fresh, and you're missing out on a lot of the oils that come out when you press it or cut it. I prefer to press it. One, it's less messy. And two, you get more of those oils released when you press it. And that's where all the good stuff for the garlic is in the oils. No, I'm just putting everything in a bowl. Just putting it in a bowl and mixing it up. And then it will sit overnight. If you have time, I did say earlier, if you have time or you don't have this and you have time, you can, oh God, that is killing me. You can roast, you can go like turn on the grill, or if you have a roaster or anything like that, or you could even throw it in the oven on broil. Just put them in a pan and broil it until they start to get a little charbroiled. Little blackened, the tomatoes will start to pop, and it just gives it that, it just gives it a whole different flavor. You really taste the tomatoes much differently when you have them fire roasted. So, but yeah, just throwing them in a bowl, because I remembered at like 4 o'clock that I had to make a giant batch of salsa for my sister's shower tomorrow. Luckily, my mom remembered and had asked me if I was still bringing it. I was like, oh, yeah, I am. Let me go to the store to buy some. So, almost done with the garlic.
What is the steak tonight marinating it?
I don't know, baby. I didn't do the marinade. You can go ask Daddy, though. All right. Almost done. I got 2 more little pieces of garlic to throw in after this. No, Rose, if you use a garlic press, you don't have to take the skin off. Another bonus reason to use the garlic press. It's a 1 step. I'll show you. I'll do a little quick. And I know there's lots of garlic presses out there, but I highly suggest using or buying a Pampered Chef one. If you don't have a Pampered Chef consultant, let me know, and I'm sure I can get you in touch with one. Dang it. I just dropped a piece of garlic down there. Also, kids are good for picking up stuff that you drop, so you don't have to wash your hands a million times. So, you just stick it all in there, skin and everything. And if they're small like this one, you can do a couple. The bigger ones, or if you have like a really big one, you might have to cut it in half first. And then all you do, move this. So, all you do is squeeze, and you can see as I'm squeezing, hopefully it won't drip everywhere. You can see it's like juicy and all the goodness. All that is the good stuff. And it comes with a little tool to clean it off with and stuff, but I lost it probably a long time ago. The Pampered Chef garlic, oh, Reagan knows where it is. The Pampered Chef garlic press is much pricier than the ones in the store, but you guys, it is solid metal and it lasts forever.
This is the tool.
Yep, that's the little tool. So with when you use the little tool, you put, it's got like a little hairbrush. You put the brush in the holes and then open it. Sometimes it'll stick to this and it's real easy, but then you use this side to either scrape it off or pull it out of here. It's a little pricey, but it lasts forever. I've had this one
for a long time since you've been doing Pampered Chef.
Let's see. I have 3 garlic presses, and one of them I know I got before I had Reagan, and one of them I got when I signed up and was doing Pampered Chef for a while. But my mom has one that she's had for like over 25 years. So spend a little bit extra, but then you don't have to replace it. The ones from the store, I bought one when I first moved out, and it always breaks right here. And same with the lemon lime press that I used earlier. It always breaks in the same spot. Either that or it'll break in this handle too. So there's another tip. All right. So next, oh honey, can you find my scissors?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're gonna do the green onion. No, my cooking scissors.
Cooking scissors?
Yeah, did I?
I thought they were.
Oh, right here. I think I used them on onions this morning. Alright, so green onion. Super easy to use with scissors. Way easier. I just cut off all the ends. The gross, nasty looking ones. These ones. And then I just cut them as fine as I can. And I just cut them straight in the bowl. Makes it super easy. I also keep the rubber band on the bottom. If I'm using the whole bunch at once, I keep the rubber band on the bottom, and it just helps hold them together until I get down there. What time does Bud's flight get in? I'm glad I can keep you busy. Hi, kids. Hi, Leslie. Just making my favorite salsa recipe. And I'm almost done.
Disney.
And then I gotta go make dinner. And then I think we decided that I'm going live again later to make cookies. Alright, so when you get down to the whites, I also put the whites in. Unless you are going to propagate and regrow. If you're going to do that, you could probably stop about here and just stick them in water for a few days, and these little roots will start growing, and then you can plant them and regrow them. Gotcha. So that's what we used to do. I used to buy the organic ones, and I'd just use our gross as long as I could until I needed to buy more, because sometimes we use way more green onions than we could grow.
Turn on your battery saver.
No, it's okay. So yeah, so I like to use the green onions, one, because I like the flavor, and it also gives a little extra green. And then cilantro. So I know there's like this whole group of weirdos that don't like cilantro because their genetics tell them it tastes like soap. And if you're one of those people, I am so sorry, because cilantro is amazing. Key to picking good cilantro is to smell it. When you pick it up at the store, literally just pick it up and smell it. And if you can't smell it, don't buy that bunch. Because you're not going to taste it either. And there's no point in putting it or buying it if you can't taste it. So, I literally just do the same thing, at least for the top section. I just hold it all together, and then I just snip the ends off into the salsa. I try to do small snips so that I don't have like huge giant chunks, but the stems on cilantro are okay to eat. I try not to put a whole lot in there, but like for when you're doing this, you don't have to go through and peel all the little leaves off before you cut them or chop them. But again, scissors are the way to go. And cilantro really just depends on your taste. I love cilantro, so I usually put quite a bit of cilantro in mine. So you can see I just kind of cut until I started getting more stems than leaves. And then I'll pick through and find ones that just have some extra leaves. Or cut them off the sides.
Are these my little drops small?
Yes. Can everything else wait until I'm done?
Is it okay if I do it by myself?
I would prefer that mommy or daddy do it for you. Okay?
I'm gonna go and study.
Thank you. She crazy. Oh goodness. Never heard of that. That people, the cilantro and soap. Oh yeah. There are quite a few Facebook groups that are simply for people who hate cilantro. It's kind of funny. I am not one of those. I think if you hate cilantro, you're weird, but I know it's a genetic thing, so I can't fault you too much. All right. So I think I will start with that. and go for them. Hi, Sarah. Say, I am making my fresh salsa. Unfortunately, there's not really much of a recipe to it. I mean, I can tell you all the ingredients, but salsa is something that really depends on people. It depends on you and what your tastes are, how spicy you like it, what kind of tomatoes you like, if you like cilantro, if you like green onions, all that kind of stuff. If you're crazy and you like avocados, you can throw chunks of avocado in it and make an avocado salsa. Just know, I would probably do that on a smaller scale, unless you're going to a big thing. Also, when I make guacamole, I actually just mash up my my avocados, and then I put a couple of spoonfuls of the salsa in it, and that's what I use to make my avocados. Or my guacamole. My kids love guacamole. I hate guacamole. And then the last thing is just salt and pepper. I try to do fresh ground pepper. It's got a little bit different flavor than the stuff you just buy that's already ground, but whatever you have works. Don't need to do anything special. I might be here a little bit. Other things that you can add to it to give a little kick, you can add a couple pinches of cayenne or chili powder. I've done that. Paprika you can add to it. Just kind of experiment and find out what flavors you like. Also, where's my salt? Sometimes I will, if I remember, which I didn't this time and now I'm kind of sad, is I will grate a little bit of the outside of your lemon or lime, hopefully lime, but I know sometimes it's kind of hard to find lime. I don't know if can you guys hear me over the salt? I don't know if you can hear me still when I'm doing this. Hi, Melissa. So I think I will start with that and taste. Something else, what was I going to say? Oh, something else you can do that I normally do that I forgot. Good, I'm glad. I know that if I have to add more. Is you can use a fine grater. So that's a fine grater versus your regular size grater. Sometimes they also come in a long skinny or even a short skinny, but it's a fine microplane grater is usually what they're called. Oops, now I can't get it back on. You can take that, and since my trash is only my trash from this, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna pull it out and I'm gonna put some in it anyways. It's easy. It's much easier if you do this before you cut and juice, but you can grate some of your lime peel. Ooh. And, oh my god, I just got it back in my cut. And stick that in there. If you like the flavor of lime, this will give you that extra zing that you love. You want to stop once you start getting to the white part. That's called the pith, and that is the part that has the real bitter taste. So stop when you get to the pith. And I'm just gonna scrape that off. But this is the zingy, oh, I'm dripping everywhere. This is the zingy good part. It's only off my French, it's only dripping on my French press instructions. Normally it's not quite this juicy and hard to get off. I think that's just because I had already juiced it. So that should be about it. Mix everything together, do a couple taste tests, add whatever you need more of, whatever you like in flavor. You want to grab the chips? Yep. And that's it. Let me show you guys a shot. Also, when you do the peppers at the beginning, the bell peppers, I don't like the green ones. They're too strong and they give it they overpower everything. So if you add bell peppers in yours, do red or yellow or orange, because they're just a little less on that intense flavor. But there we go. That's it. It should be colorful. It should look delicious. Go ahead and open. So now we are going to taste test.
Do we have any more chips?
Do we have more chip clips?
Chips.
No, but we're not eating a whole bunch of this right now. This is just to test for the baby shower.
Here you go.
Here we go. I'm that person who always tries to get a little bit of everything from the salsa on my chip. So, that's a good batch. Ooh, it's a little spicy. Good stuff. So, this is the end. So if you're just joining us, I'm sorry you missed most of it. But salsa really comes down to personal preference. So if you're interested in making your own salsa, I can send you a list of ingredients. But it's really just about how it looks and how it tastes for you. So I can give you a list of everything that I put in mine. And that way you can go to the store and make sure you have all the ingredients. You can leave out what you don't like. You can put in what you do. It's really easy to make. So much better for you fresh because you don't have all those added sugars and other stuff that they put in the jarred stuff. And it stays good for about a week, which is about how long a single batch lasts us. So that is all. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I hope that you learned something new. I hope that you have some a desire to go make some fresh salsa. And so I'm gonna go make dinner, and then look for me live again later because I'm going to make my famous cookies. I'm gonna make chocolate chip. I'll probably make some chocolate chip nut because I like nuts in mine. And then I'm also going to make a white chocolate cranberry as well for my sister's shower tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for joining, and hopefully I'll see you later on my next live. Bye.